The question now is that vote environment stand part of the schedules. Nikki Wagner.
Mr. Speaker, the Ministry for the Environment administers vote environment, and the Ministers for Climate Change Issues and the Minister of the Environment are responsible for that vote. In the 2013-14 vote environment appropriation is $326.5 million, and the Minister of Environment is responsible for approximately 40% of that vote, and the Minister of Climate Change responsible for the other 60%. Funding for vote environment tends to fluctuate from year to year depending on the work streams or the roles of the ministry. And in 2013-14, the appropriation is approximately double that of 2010-11 and slightly less than 2012-13 appropriation. The priorities for the Ministry of the Environment for 2013-14 are reforms in freshwater management and resource management, and also a new focus on environmental reporting. 10% of the vote, a total of $33.7 million, is for policy work and projects to improve water quality, and that is to follow up on the work that's done by the Land and Water Forum, also the 2011 National Policy Statement for Freshwater Management, and for clean-ups of historically contaminated water bodies. Now, the work streams in 2013 and 14 will focus on collaborative planning processes for water. They will also establish a national objectives framework, and the idea of that framework is to set freshwater quality objectives and limits and find ways to manage and allocate water within quality and quantity limits. Almost $14 million is also targeted to clean up waterways, and it's great to see restoration projects in places like Lake Te Waihora, that's Lake Ellesmere in Canterbury, also the Manawatu River, the Wairapa Moana, the Wainoni Lagoon in South Canterbury, and Waituna. The Ministry of Environment has also prioritised resource management reform. Now, we need to maintain the quality of our resource management decisions, but we need to streamline the process so that we can be more consistent, more predictable, and we can reduce costs and get more timely decisions. And we are already making progress on this. We passed the streamlining and simplification legislation, and we've had some very pleasing results from everybody who's been using that, and there's more legislation on the way. Funding has increased under the appropriation for the Community Environmental Fund. This time it is $6.4 million, and that's up from $2.4 million that was spent in 2012 and 13. And that appropriation is made to strengthen partnerships, to raise environmental awareness, and to encourage participation in environmental initiatives. There's also been an increase in funding for the Contaminate Sites Remediation Fund, and that increases to $5.4 million, and which is over $5 million more than was spent in 2012-13. And I think it's really important to see the Tui mine site. Now, that was one of the worst contaminated sites in New Zealand, and that has been successfully remediated. And with the success of the work there and the increased funding, I think that will encourage other cleanups in contaminated sites across the country. Now, New Zealanders are very aware that we want to and we need to keep our environment clean and green. And we really look forward to the results of this work being done in freshwater and the work that's also being done in resource management and environmental cleanups, and particularly an increasing interest with State of the Nation environmental reporting. Thank you.
Eugenie Stage.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Well, in this brief call on the estimates for vote environment, I'd like to continue from the previous speaker and talk